Okay, so if you were gone on Friday or Monday and you missed the whole thesis lecture, let me see if I can sum this up for you, or I'll kind of give you what I was talking about in class. First of all, this came on the board, so make sure that you have your book completed by this time. But anyway, so we started talking about thesis statements, and more specifically the expository essay. And for the expository essay for English 1, it is a very big chunk of the final exam, or the exam for the state. So we talked very in depth about how important it is that students do well on the expository essay. And part of that is you have to know what an expository essay is. And so I'm going to ask that you get out your binder and make a divider, and then just call it EOC. That stands for end of course. Okay, so go ahead and do that, and then please write this in there. So you write at the top, Introduction to Expository Writing, and expository writing means to explain. Think of expository in this way: it is logical and informative. So please make sure that you write that down. Okay, so this is a rubric that will be used for the EOC exam, and I just wanted to show how there are 3 different parts that you need to pay attention to. There's the organization and progression, there are the ideas, and then there's the language and conventions. So you can kind of see how when they're grading your essays, they're looking for whether or not you have done your brainstorming and you have a thesis statement, and that's what we're going to be really focusing on right now. Whether or not you have clear ideas and examples, so you've actually thought it through, you make sure that they're appropriate for whatever task they ask you to do. Oh, let me go back. And that you have done your revising and editing. So it's very important, and this might be different than what you had in the years past, so really pay attention to the next few slides here. So this was a website or a video I showed them just about killer thesis and how to write a good thesis statement. You're welcome to look at it. You could just do a copy and paste of this, or you could just rewrite it in. And okay, so for this EOC divider, so you already did this because in the previous slide. So if you could please write these in your notes under the EOC section. In order to classify as expository, an essay must explain or discuss a topic. So again, it's explaining, it's discussing. You're not giving a personal narrative, you're not telling about your life story, you're not trying to persuade people to do anything, you're explaining or discussing a topic. Your expository essay must have the thesis statement as shown in the previous rubric. It does need to contain evidence that is appropriate. It needs to have commentary, which you tell basically why the evidence helps support your thesis statement. And you provide a conclusion, which we'll be talking about in the next few months. And you always stay informative. You never go into the personal narrative, never go into persuasive. So please make sure that you have these written in your notes. Very, very important. Okay, so with the thesis statements, the way that we're going to work on thesis statements to get started is, please write this in your notes, that a thesis statement equals subject plus your reasons. More specifically, subject plus 2 reasons. So we're going to pretend that you have a topic called Importance of City Parks. So here's an example of a strong thesis statement. Towns should have at least one park within walking distance of every citizen's home because parks encourage long-term health and a sense of community. So to color code it, you've got towns should have at least one park within distance of every citizen's home. That's your subject in red. And the first reason is parks encourage long-term health. And your second reason is sense of community. Please write these in your notes, and if you don't color code, make sure that you underline the subject with 1 line and your reasons with 2 lines. Very, very important. Now here's the deal. When you have something like this, your first reason should be your first body paragraph. Your second reason should be your second body paragraph. That shows the reader that you are organizing your thoughts. So please make sure that you take care of that. So it should look something like this. So you have your paragraph, or your thesis statement should be at the very bottom of your intro paragraph. And then you have your body paragraph 1, which will be about, in this case, long-term health. And your body paragraph 2 should be about your sense of community, because that's the second reason you put in your thesis. And your conclusion. And then you're done with that essay. After, of course, you explain it. All right, so let's look at some examples of introduction and thesis statements. Here's the first one. Although it is important to help others when possible, it is also essential to put oneself first in life. After all, we have one life, and one person's main concern is his own choices in life. So you need to make the decision whether it's strong or weak. In this case, the thesis statement would be considered weak because there's no clear statement, no clear thesis statement, because we don't know what the subject is and the two reasons. Here's another example. Helping another person with a difficult task is a great thing to do. However, most of us are too busy with our lives to take time for others. Even though it is easier to mind our own business, it is honorable and caring when a person goes out of his way to help another person. So in this case, we'd consider that a strong thesis statement because we have an interesting intro with a pretty strong hook, and we know exactly what to expect from this thesis statement, or what to expect from the essay. Another one. Sometimes helping others matters more than one's personal gain. Although people work to benefit themselves, they should always put others first. People should be more concerned about helping others than themselves because, one, it is the right thing to do, and two, it is best for our society. So even the way I read it, you know that we're going to have a pretty strong thesis because you have your two reasons. Okay, last one. Why should people put others before themselves? Why should they? Who don't have everything they want but don't necessarily need in life, stop for someone less fortunate. Okay, so obviously, I'm sure you figured that one out. That's a weak thesis statement because we have no idea what they're talking about. We have a lot of hook sentences but no thesis statement. So make sure that the introduction is well supported with a strong thesis statement. And so when you get to the thesis generator, which you will find in the pages form in Canvas, you can pull that up and you can start working on that. I handed them out in class, but at the same time, I just want to make sure that you have access to it. What they did in class is the expectation is you read each prompt, you write the subject or the focus of the prompt, and then you write two answers to the question. So you have your reason 1 and reason 2, and then you can craft an entire thesis statement using the subject and two reasons. And then when you're finished with that front page, then you're going to choose one prompt and create a full outline on the back side where you actually expand the two reasons. So make sure that you choose one that you're comfortable using. And then when it's all finished, the expectation is you go ahead and hand that in. If you have any questions, please let me know, and we can get together and figure it out.